Welcome back to the Radiant You podcast. I'm your host, Lissa Cole, and today's episode is one of my favorite kinds. It's about pulling together the threads of the season. Season 3 has been full of extraordinary conversations. Each guest brought her own story, her own piece of wisdom, her own thread of radiance. And when I step back, I see them as part of a quilt or a tapestry, different colors, patterns, and textures, all stitched together into something whole and beautiful. Today, I want to trace those threads and reflect on the wisdom that we've gathered and invite you to notice how their stories might become part of your own radiant quilt. So we're going to look at thread 1, and that is identity and becoming. And Alyson is a compassionate therapist and part of LifeSpring's team. She shared something that has stayed with me. She said, I used to describe myself by my roles, but now I describe myself as me. The roles are just small aspects of who I am. That is such a powerful truth, isn't it? We so often introduce ourselves by what we do. I'm mom, wife, therapist, student. But Alyson reminded us that roles are just patches in the quilt, not the whole. She also said, becoming never stops. It's not about who I thought I should be. It's about who I want to be now. That thread of becoming is what makes the quilt dynamic and alive. It's always growing with us. Where in your own life are you still becoming? What roles have defined you? And how might you start defining yourself more fully beyond those roles? Thread 2, Anchored Radiance, Chelsee Shafer. A woman of deep faith, fierce love, and everyday grace. Chelsee shared her story of adoption, of navigating chronic illness in marriage, of leading with faith through the transitions. One of my favorite things that she said was about her 4-quarter crew, that small group of people who know her deeply, support her, and keep her anchored. Life is layered, she says, and complex, but radiance is found in showing up anyway, rooted in faith and surrounded by the people who steady me. That was a powerful quote from Chelsee. And that thread is like the sturdy stitching in a quilt, the anchor that keeps the whole thing from unraveling. Who are the people in your crew? Who steadies you when life feels heavy? And are you letting them in? Really letting them carry some of the weight with you. Thread 3, Courage and Covenant Identity. Our next radiant guest was Shayla Jesse, the author of The Covenant Woman and Answering the Call, and host of the Covenant Woman podcast. Shayla spoke about knowing who you are in God as the foundation of radiance. Covenant identity means walking in alignment with God's call, even when it feels scary, even when it feels bigger than your confidence. That was a beautiful quote from her. And she also reminded us that radiance requires courage. Sometimes the calling feels both scary and sacred, but that's often where God is doing the deepest work. Shayla's thread in our quilt is that bold, vibrant fabric, the piece that draws your eye and reminds you to live with purpose and faith. Where might God be calling you into something that feels both scary and sacred? What bold stitch of courage might be waiting for you? Thread 4, habits, impact, and light. We had the joy of hearing from Andrea Cabana, a radiant wife, a mom, entrepreneur, coach, and community leader. Andrea's story stitched together so many radiant pieces. Her faith, her commitment to impact, and her daily practices that keep her light shining. She reminded us that radiance is built in the ordinary. Building confidence must include an understanding that failure is part of the process. That's a beautiful quote from her. And she also says, starting the morning with intention changes how the whole day unfolds. She's right. Andrea spoke about letting God's light shine through us. She says, when we let his light shine, we not only glow ourselves, we illuminate the path for others. It's so important that we have the radiance and we shine our light for us, but also for all the others that are in our lives. Illuminates the path for others. Her thread is one of consistency and resilience. The daily stitches that hold the whole quilt together. One habit, one choice, and one day at a time. What daily practices are you stitching into your life right now, intentionally? How might intention, even just in one small thing, shift your whole day? So when I step back and look at the season as a whole, I don't just see individual moments or conversations. I see a quilt stitched together from so many radiant threads. My mom is a quilter. My husband's aunt is a beautiful quilter. My mother-in-law, 96 years old, quilted so many beautiful pieces. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Beautiful friend, Darcelle, she is an amazing quilter as well. There are so many things, so many pieces in our lives that we get to put together and make beautiful pieces. Beautiful paths for others. Beautiful artwork. From Alyson, we receive the reminder that identity is not fixed in titles or roles. Her thread is one of becoming and letting ourselves evolve, describing ourselves as me and not as what I do. That's the soft but strong fabric that forms the base layer of our quilt. From Chelsee, we receive the steadying stitches of faith and community, the reminder that radiance shines even in hardship. When we're anchored by God and surrounded by our people. Her contribution is like the sturdy border that holds the quilt together. I used to love being able to help my mom pick out fabrics and colors and patterns. And the one most important that we chose was always the border color and the pattern. It holds the quilt together. From Shayla, we received the bold and vibrant patch of courage and stepping into covenant identity, answering God's call, and trusting that scary and sacred walk hand in hand. Her piece is the vibrant square that catches your eye and makes the quilt come alive with color. And from Andrea, we receive the daily stitches, the small practices of intention, affirmation, and showing up with light. Her thread is the detailed hand sewing that holds the whole quilt together, one habit, one choice, and one day at a time. Together, these pieces didn't form a perfect, polished design. They formed something better. A living, breathing tapestry of radiance. Quilts are made from scraps of real life. Fabric that's been worn, stretched, sometimes frayed, but chosen and stitched with love. And isn't that how life really is? None of us are walking around with perfect fabric. We bring our messy middle, our imperfect edges, our scraps of experience. And yet, when we gather those threads with intention, faith, and courage, and love, what emerges is breathtaking. What's really cool is this. We haven't just created a thread of radiance this season. We've also created a thread of connection. Each guest came here to share her truth. But in doing that, she became connected to all of us. Their words wove into your life, into my life, and into this community we're building together. And when you pause to reflect, you'll see that you're part of the quilt too. That's the bigger story of this season. Radiance and connection woven together. The quilt isn't just theirs or mine. It's ours. What threads from this season resonate most with your life right now? Where do you see Alyson's becoming, Chelsee's anchoring, Shayla's courage, or Andrea's steady habits in your own quilt? And what new piece might you be ready to stitch in next? So here's my encouragement for you today. Take time to reflect on the threads of your own radiance. Take the time. Reflection on these threads will help building your own radiance. What pieces are vibrant and new? Which squares feel worn but deeply meaningful? And what unfinished patches are waiting for you to stitch in next? Remember, quilts are made from scraps and imperfections. It's never about perfection. It's about wholeness. Your radiant quilt tells the story of who you are and who you are becoming. Thank you, beautiful, radiant people, for being with me on this season's journey. If today's reflection touched your heart, share it with a friend who might need the encouragement. And stay tuned, because the quilt of the radiant you is still unfolding. So until next time, may your radiance and your connections weave together something strong, beautiful, and uniquely yours. Shine your light and be the radiant you.